Karamat presents gratitude to the hospitality industry. We are providing a platform where experienced leaders share their culinary journey with budding aspirants. A platform where experience meets execution. A platform where we put together collective efforts. A platform with a shared aim, reviving the hospitality industry from the challenges posed by the pandemic. Come, join us on this culinary journey.
कुछ शेफ बॉर्न जीनियस होते हैं, कुछ अपनी मेहनत और लगन से जीनियस बनते हैं, पर इन सारे जीनियस में एक बात कॉमन है, ये खाना बड़ा लाजवाब बनाते हैं, जैसे कोई करामात हो इनके हाथों में।
जी हाँ, ये करामात ही है शेफ के हाथों में।
करामात मास्टर मिक्स फॉर मास्टर शेफ, 100% natural gravies and many more.
Namaskar, good evening, and it is a great privilege for me on behalf of Karamat, which is Food Solutions Limited, and I, Dr. Chef Virender Singh Rana, welcome our today's speaker or today's keynote person, Chef Gurpreet Bora. A big round of applause for Chef Gurpreet Bora. He is Managing Director, Tulip Institutional Services, Gurugram, and we also have the marketing head of Karamat, Mr. Mayur, with us. So I welcome you on behalf of Karamat Food Solutions Limited. And this is Culinary Journey of an Entrepreneur, which is a series virtual session with Karamat. And I am hosting this session. I am so glad. And talking with different personalities give me so much of learning, and also this shares a lot of learning to our audience, and it is again a very proud moment for us that today we have Chef Gurpreet Bora. Chef, good evening and namaskar. Welcome to this show, Culinary Journey of an Entrepreneur.
Thank you, Chef Dr. Virender. So, to all the audience, it might sound something which is not there, that you have a doctor who's a chef or a chef who's a doctor, but then Chef Virender has done a great job, and along with Mr. Mayur, who is representing Karamat. So we are privileged to be part of this journey and this interaction. I would say this is the guftagu between two chefs. Yes. with the privilege of our key sponsors and key people who are there, that is Karamat. It's always been a pleasure and a pride to have this self-honored honorary position of a chef. I started my career as a chef, and I till date always respect not only the uniform but the person behind the uniform, because nobody understands the effort that goes into the food before it is served, and that effort, I always believe, and I'm sure chef would also agree, that effort is something which comes from the heart. If you do not have the passion and if you do not have the heart, the skills don't matter. Skills can be imparted, but attitude can never be imparted. So that has been my motto, to be what we are, and we are still associated. I am a chef. I may not be that great a chef at work, but I always would like to cook for my wife and my kids at home.
So that is a unique thing. It's like for a chef, it is always a difficult challenge, but you are performing this duty. That is wonderful. And yes, chef, you said passion. Passion is one thing that should be there. Like in any profession, not only in chef's profession, but in every profession, passion comes first. So other thing like attitude you mentioned and skills, yes, definitely we can learn skills and we can repeat what other person is doing, but attitude we have to just it is within kind of thing which you have to build. And Yes, chef. This is a show where we always showcase the journey of an entrepreneur, and you are an entrepreneur. So please tell us something about your background and your journey as a chef as well as an entrepreneur, and also mention about the Tulip, the your organization.
Um, I would start with the last one first. You know, when we say Tulip, I always believe that Tulip is Gurpreet Singh Vora is part of Tulip. So whatever Gurpreet Singh Vora today is Tulip, and what is Tulip is Gurpreet Singh Vora. You know, I always believe I am an employee of Tulip. Who's the best employee? You know, when we reach the audience and when we are talking about our budding chefs coming out of the college, they have to understand what is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is nothing but a person as an employee who works like an entrepreneur is going to be an entrepreneur one day. When you own the organization which you're working for, when you own the responsibility that you're working for, that is going to be an entrepreneur. You work like an entrepreneur when you're an employee. Imagine what are you going to do when you become an entrepreneur. So my journey was not a planned journey. Let me put it honestly. I studied in Army Public School, got through NDA, didn't join NDA, got through ICWA. I didn't join ICWA, and I told my father I wanted to do only hotel management because the intention was being a Punjabi and being a Surd with my relatives abroad in Australia, and they are coming from the same trade, that I am going to learn Indian cuisine and settle in a foreign country as a foreign national. So that was the intention, how I started. But destiny has its own plans. I never realized that this single focus is going to take me onto this tangent in life. So once I passed out of college, I joined Taj. Then I joined Meridian because in Taj I was unable to learn Indian cuisine, and my only passion was forget about the money and the career. I just want to go abroad. That was the only thing that stuck in my mind. And during my working with Meridian, God was kind. I worked under an excellent human being and a great chef, Chef Devinder Kumar. I learned a lot from him. And then I was picked up by Golden Tulip Hotels. Incidentally, from the chef background, they put me into F&B service. So I worked in F&B, having the knowledge of production. So I worked with them in Holland, Australia, Middle East, and London. I came back to India because my mother, you know, that's the irony. Now look at the irony. I wanted to work abroad. I got all the opportunities to work abroad. I came back to India because my mother went through a phase of depression and my father was not able to accept that. So I came back to India, left the Golden to them and started with Tulip. So that's how Tulip was born in 1996. I started from the roof of my house, doing ODCs, getting 2 employees who were going to work there and stay there, and we were used to pick up the tandoor, get it onto the trucks and do outdoor catering. So that's how the journey started. But then, like you said, passion is required for all. But believe you me, one has to understand that food and producing food is more of an art than a science. Standardization does play a bigger role, but you will be surprised on our journey we understood that sometimes you don't have to standardize things to be successful, because institutional catering is a different ballgame altogether. So that is how art came into the play, and having the knowledge of production and the service, it was much easier for us to succeed. But then I was built where I never understood cash model of payment, taking money from outdoor caterings. It is always a challenge. So we were more like an employee or production and F&B people and less of an entrepreneur. That is where I understand that all of us in our education, in our impartment of training, in our impartment of interaction, we have to make our people, when I say our people means our chefs, more aware of the finances. Because we are always taught and we submerge ourselves into only producing to an extent of a food cost. But I don't think so that should be the criteria. Today, world is changing and it's changing on its head completely. So we have to understand what is EBITDA. I never learned it. It took me about I passed out in 1990, and it took me about 14 years when somebody came knocking on our doors for us to sell, for asking us to, they wanted to buy out Tulip. So that is what we understood, what is EBIT. And then somebody told me there is something called EBITDA. So there has to be an A added to it. We have always understood A as an apple or an apricot and never as amortized. So, it was a learning. But then I believe that till the time you understand finance, and you could, I would say Mr. Mayur would agree that unless you come from the western part of the country, that is Gujarat, where you are born a finance guy.
Money-minded, totally money-minded.
I wouldn't say money-minded. They are smart. They understand finance better than anybody. For us, it took a long time to understand. But then I think that played a very important role, because when you become an entrepreneur, food does play an important role.
Correct.
It is the key role, but it is only 40% of your business. 40% of the business is management, human management, I would say. Whether it is your employee or your client or your supplier, who's your partner, or the other partner who the client always calls themselves a partner, but they are never a partner. They are always a client. So you have that, and 20% is how you manage your finances. So it plays a very, very important part. So that is where we started, and in 1999, Shavarinder, we got into institutional catering. So we were privileged that we were working with GE, and GE told us, Mr. Pramod Bhasin, who's the godfather of the BPO industry or the industry in Gurugram. So he told us that there are going to be about 5,000, 7,000 people. And we thought that, okay, now this gentleman is sitting in a pub with us, and he's talking about 7,000 people, and all he's trying to do is that now we work for about 100 people, and he's trying to break our cost. So that's how we started. And over a period of time, God has been kind. We've never had any salesperson. There's no sales call, no sales. I'm not pointing anything to you, Mr. Mayur, so don't take it otherwise.
I'm accepting it. It is all about your roller coaster ride. I am just riding it, and it is very interesting. So far, it is very interesting, sir.
So that is how it was. That we till now we don't have salespeople. So we get the call, and we don't do any cold calls. People come to us because of the food that you serve. So it is a brand that you create. That is what I said. So when people look at me, it is Tulip. And when I go anywhere, if I enter into a building and they ask me, please make an entry, the security guy, and you say Gurpreet Singh Vora, and then they ask you, where are you coming from? So when you say Tulip, and the poor guy coming from Haryana belt would say, "Aap Tulip se hain?" तो Tulip बोलिए ना, Gurpreet Singh Vora काहे बोलते हैं? That is where you feel pride.
That make you more proud.
Right. That is what I'm saying. That is where your organization is you, and you are the organization.
Perfect.
So that has been our trend, and we had to unlearn a lot. Coming from the hotels, you had to unlearn to learn. started, I think, if I'm correct, G offered us about 65 rupees, and we fought with them because how could you give a full buffet meal at 65 rupees? But then, after a year, we went back to them with a letter, and nobody was ready to read the letter because that was the time that you had letters. You had faxes and letters. You never had emails and the rest of the stuff. I'm talking of 99. So even if there was a reverse bidding or a bidding, one had to go to a computer cafe to sit there because we were not sure घर पे light होगी कि नहीं होगी, बंद होगी तो क्या होगा. So we went and nobody was ready to open the letter because they thought we had come for a price increase. So we requested them with folded hands to open the letter, and we reduced the price by 5 rupees. Because by then we had learned that instead of doing a catering for about 300-400 rupees at that time, we could still buy at a cheaper rate and do things. So thereon we stick on, and that's the image that you've built.
Okay, so chef, as you mentioned that it was an incident, you had to come back, like your mother faced depression during that time, and but like you were in corporate career that time, you were with Golden Tulip, and you could come back and you can join hotel industry again in India. So why did you choose to become entrepreneur, to start that venture? So what came into your mind during that time?
Chef Rana, I would put it this way. Sometimes it's a blessing to be stupid. That is what I say, destiny. You know, we always say it is me. It is not me. There are some traits in your own self, which sometimes we don't analyze. When I came back to India, I'm talking of 96. I was drawing a salary of about 2 lakh rupees a month, with everything paid for by the employer, including my cab fare, my stay, my uniform, my laundry, everything. I was like a king. And 2 lakh rupees in 96 was a good amount of money. And I came back, I went to different hotels, and to be honest, with my skill and contacts of my father as well, and everybody offered me very good money. I got about 30,000 rupees. That was not a small amount. But मेरा दिमाग खराब था. I thought I was not able to come to a level where I would say that this is the amount. So that is where I started. I won't be giving you a false thing that, you know, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always thought I would always work. I would go abroad and work. The last thing that I would do is to open something of my own. And I opened. Then I also thought once I opened institutional catering, I always thought I will do everything, but I will never open a restaurant. So we had opened that as well. So that is what I said. You know, sometimes it is destiny, but then to take forward that destiny is your choice. It has not been, you know, I might put it differently, but it has not been that easy as well. You know, when we were doing outdoor catering or institutional catering, I would maybe start home by 6 o'clock in the morning. And जो रोटी बनाते थे लड़के तवे पे, उनको पानी भर भर के भी देते थे, lemon drink and everything. Sometimes we used to carry it in our cars also, the supplement food that was required. We used to get the dinner dispatched, stay there, sometimes used to come back home by 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then again go back at 7 o'clock in the morning. You know, and on the ring road between Dhaula Kuan and where I used to stay, Rajouri Garden earlier, you know, it was all an empty road at that time, and I could see cats and dogs on the road, though there was nothing because I was sleepy. So we went through that phase. We went through a phase where I got married and never had any money to go to any honeymoon. So all that I did was to go to Amritsar, Golden Temple, and come back home. So, but when you look back, I would say God has still been very kind. But then, yes, you should have the skill. Like I said, the skill is man management, very, very important. The skill of finance management, very, very important. The skill of being persistent with what you are doing to create an image. We all start with making money. I don't think so. Making money should be very, very important, but should not be the only thing. You should understand that being an entrepreneur 3 years down the line, coming from a professional background where value of time is money, we have to forget that. You have to forget that whenever you are at work, the question is whether I work 5 days or 6 days when you're an employee or an employer. So it's not a question of time. When you become an entrepreneur, you're working 24 hours. Even when you are on a holiday and you're meeting people, you're giving your visit. Somebody told me this. How many visiting cards have you got printed till now? If you're not able to give at least 200 visiting cards or 300 visiting cards or 400 visiting cards a month, you have not done it. So, you have to be very sure of what you're doing. And you should always think there is no going back for the next 5 years. What happens is people do it for 1 year, 2 years, and then they suddenly get a good offer and they move on. That is the time when things churn. So some people become an entrepreneur not by for the term of making money or making it a career. They take it as a chance. I am working and I will be an entrepreneur at the same time. Let me see what I can do. I don't want to lose my job also. That never works. Either you get in or you get out, but you have to understand that you may not make money for the first 2-3 years. So you should have that kind of a backing, or you start small. You can always start small. Always start small. Test it. If it interests you, go forward. All stories are not success stories. But then what is a success story? The success story is don't change your principles. People will come to you and tell you, I want this kind of under the table thing. I want this kind of under the table thing. So either you get associated with that and you channelize your energies there, or you say, this is my top line and this should be my top line in the next 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, or you work that ways. You can't have both. So people are proud to work with us, and we are proud to work with organizations because we carry the chip of being a very transparent organization where there is no backhand dealing.
So, Chef, you have worked in so many dimensions, in so many verticals. You worked in corporate culture, you have worked in the institutional catering, and you are also running in restaurants. So all these verticals, what kind of challenges you have faced? Like all three are different from each other. So how you have managed? Like you started with corporate world, then you shifted to become an entrepreneur. Like the type of challenges which you faced in corporate is something different from when you started your own business. So how you managed everything?
See what happens, Chef Rana. I believe that working in a corporate culture, in hotels where you are an employee, is much more difficult mentally than being an entrepreneur. A lot of people think otherwise. I would say majority thinks the otherwise. If you're a true entrepreneur within yourself, then my statement holds true. That somebody would have to ask himself. If they are scared to believe in their own self and be an entrepreneur, then you should always remain an employee. There is nothing wrong in that. Some people are cut out for that and they do very, very well. It depends whether you want to be a CEO of the organization or you want to own the organization. That is your choice. CEO works for somebody, but then he has his own limitations. So you work, whether you are willing to work in limitations or you want to experiment. When you are an entrepreneur, you also have a fair, when you are doing a fair competition, then you can kill your competition also with underpricing. But you will never be able to do it when you are an employee, because the organization always looks at making money with your skills. So if you are giving what you're earning, the organization, when I am an employer, if I am an employer, I look at 15% or 20 times the return from the salary that I give. That's the thumb rule. That's the minimum that person should give. Because otherwise, where is the motivation? I have to motivate him, like our seniors used to do. When you are a commie 3, you work as a commie 1. You work the way a commie 1 works, and then you become commie 2. When you become commie 2, we try and get the work of demi-chef from out of him, and then he becomes commie 1. From commie 1 to demi-chef, demi-chef to chef de partie, CDP, and then CDP to junior sous chef and sous chef. You are always working 2 hierarchy above you, and you get the next hierarchy. And when you get that next post, nobody asks us, do you want to become from a CDP, do you want to become a junior sous chef, or you don't want to become a junior sous chef? We take it with both the hands. Our salaries are limited to CDP, but we are already working as a junior sous chef because we are being trained and we are being pushed and we are doing that. So that is motivation. So we have to motivate people. So here the challenge has always been, I would say, that the industry sometimes is not ready for you. Second challenge is that you have to work with not only your hands and not only with your brain, but you have to work what the client might do after 3 months or 6 months. So you have to get out of the comfort zone. Now, giving you an example for this and the audience, if you are serving food in a cafeteria and you are giving a buffet, now everybody wants home cooked food. जहाँ आप खाने जाते हैं अपने कैफेटेरिया में, everybody wants home cooked food. But the irony is, nobody wants to eat the food which they have eaten at home. उनको दही भल्ले भी चाहिए, गोलगप्पे भी चाहिए. They would want a Chinese one also. They would want everything.
सब कुछ.
So सब कुछ चाहिए उनको, पर वो बोलेंगे हमें घर का खाना चाहिए. तो आपको सोचना पड़ेगा कि उनको चाहिए क्या. So they would not want ghiya, they would not want tori, they would not want sitapal. So you have to understand what they want. That is one. And what are you going to do? So they get bored with food. It is monotony that kills. Unlike in a hotel or a restaurant where we go and we want that same dal makhani should taste the same, here what happens is the person is eating the same thing. Now, for example, I go on a flight from Delhi to Ahmedabad, or I go on a train from Delhi to Chandigarh. I know the food. If I'm going 10 times in a month or 12 times in a month, I will give him, the boy on the train Shatabdi, I would give him rather 100 rupees and tell him not to wake me up. मुझे चाय पीनी होगी तो मैं ले लूँगा. But if I'm going once in 2 months, I would give him 50 rupees and tell him if I want extra non-veg, get me that. So similar is our case. The clients are the same. Here we have to think ahead. The taste of the food standardization doesn't work here. The taste has to change because people get fed up with the food. They at home also, my wife cooks. My mother also cooks. The ingredients are the same, chef. The utensils are the same. The burners are the same. If I'm sitting on the dining table, I can make out whether the bhindi has been cooked by my wife or my mother. Now, sitting on the dining table, I can't comment who cooks better because I have to eat food. But there is a change in hand. There is a change in hand with the same ingredients. So here, that is exactly what we do on a macro level.
Achha. Rotation of the...
We have teams who cook for 3,000 people. We have another team that is cooking for 2,000 people. After 3 months, we interchange. The chef who comes in from Uttarakhand and is making dal makhani will do the typical North Indian way. lot of ginger garlic and tomato puree. The person who comes from Maharashtra, who worked in Maharashtra, will put hing. So there is a change in hand. So that is one biggest challenge that we had to unlearn to learn. The second challenge I would say is to think ahead, like I said. Now you do all that, उसके बाद भी लोग बोर हो जाते हैं खाने से. So what do you have to be ahead of the market. You start putting soft cone machine. Now what I'm going to do in after 6 months, I'm going to put a soft cone machine there. So people are going to play with that soft cone machine. So they would want different varieties now. They will go back to their own childhood. So they have had quality walls, they have had all kinds of ice cream, they have got sticks also, they have done with lollies also. So now there is something which is live that they are doing. So that is something that you start doing. So you have to think ahead, always ahead, out of your comfort zone. Because suddenly, everybody starts saying, ab wo baat nahi rahi. They can't do that at home with their wife. Ki khane ka taste same na, same. Because they can go out and eat. Here, everything is on food. And everything is on attitude. Because if it is a pre-portioned dessert and you tell the guy, I'm sorry you can't have it, now you don't know whether he is the finance head or whoever. So they take offense. So that is where training comes in. So train the people is again a third challenge. Willingness of your staff to change. You get people to work, but then they don't want to change. First, they have to come into your culture. And then they have to change within that culture. Continuous change. So that has been the biggest challenge because we are always vendors, like I said. Churi खरबूजे पे गिरे या खरबूजा छुरी पे गिरे कटते. Entrepreneur का यही हाल है. If they're ready to pay the price, then they want the service. And you should understand that service is the motto. The only motto is that you are right. And how can we improve? Even if you're making a loss, fourth challenge, even if you're making a loss, don't compromise on anything till the time of your contract. It doesn't matter to them. They are made of steel. When it comes to an entrepreneur, they are made of steel, they will not change. You have signed a contract for them.
Finish.
That is done. Go back after a year, provide them service better than what you should do. If you're making a loss, I'm saying of 1 rupee, it is better that you make a loss of 1.25. You make them so addicted to you as a drug that even if they try somebody else, they come back to you. So that is where your brand name comes in. So these are the challenges. Obviously, the last challenge I would say is, how should I put it? I also have a half Gujarati on the show. I would say whichever Indian government comes in, it is very difficult to work with the agencies, if I was to put it in a mild manner. So I think some part of our energy as an entrepreneur, you should be a little more a person of more resolve, where everything can get resolved. It is just a question of time and money. So I think that is also something which an entrepreneur should look at. If you're looking at ideal situation never comes. Ideal situation will never come in your life, wherever in the world you are. So the person as an entrepreneur has to be flexible. You should know where your morals, you can extend your elasticity of your morals, and something which needs to be compromised will be compromised. Something that you are very firm on cannot be compromised. People will get used to you. So I'm talking more of an entrepreneur. But yes, as a chef, the best part comes in that you are aware of everything. You understand the intricacies of food. You understand how things can go wrong. You understand how things can get better. And you can train your people accordingly. Don't let your good staff go. The mantra is give them more money than what they deserve. They stay. Now, we started in 96 with about 22 people. 2 left us. 1 died incidentally. And 19 are still working with us. Out of them, one of the chefs who came in from Nepal, he's still working with us. His son has joined IIT Delhi. And another chef who worked from Jammu, who came in from Jammu, his son has joined NDA.
Wow.
So that is the pride that you get, as if somebody of your own family has achieved. And they all came and stayed at the same place. When we moved from Delhi to Gurgaon, we told them two of your kids can go to school, we will sponsor. Not we came in out of, like I said, it was never an HR policy, it was never that we had that kind of money, but we wanted them to move from Delhi to Gurgaon. So हमने वो लालच दिया और वो अपने आप ऐसी चीज हो गई कि अच्छी हो गई. All stayed together, maybe they all went to the same school. So the bonding happened, and that is how 19 people are still with us. So that is also a learning from us, that give them more than what they deserve. More is always not money. Yes, money plays a very important role, but more is always not money. Make them partners, make them important, give them that respect, because at the end of the day, chef would agree that working in a kitchen is a very hard job. And day in and day out, especially in institutional catering where the work is 365 days. It is not like a wedding thing or outdoor catering where 6 months to saya hai, 6 mahine chalo aaram hai. Banquet. So,
like chef, you have mentioned about the man management as a challenge, but you have managed it very brilliantly, and now people are attached with you, as you mentioned that you have treated them as family members. So who all are in your team, and how much important they are for your business? And again, what is, as you mentioned, that money is not the mantra for you. But if I will give you 2 options, money or emotions, so which is your part of or values, or how you take as a business mantra, like money or emotions in your organization?
It's a very tough question, and I would say, I would put it very honestly. When your stomach is half empty or half full, whatever you may say, then emotions are very good. But if your stomach is empty, I think money is very important. So I would say here, I had the support of my family. So when I started working, there was a time, Chef Rana, when I started in 96, I never had that kind of money, because you invest a lot when you are starting, and you don't make money also. I also worked for an airlines during the lean period, because that is the time that we were doing outdoor catering. We started institutional only in 1999. I also worked for 6 months in an international airlines, and because of the per diems, we used to get 80 pounds a day as per diems. So, वो भी कमाया है. But now the point is, how when you give an option, whether money or emotion, if that money is coming through the right sources, money is very important. But if that money is coming without emotions, that money has no value. Because it is not just the money, it is sustainable money that should come every month. That will never come without attachment in our industry. Because whatever you may say, even if the comfort of the client is emotion, the service of the client is emotion, money is a byproduct of that emotion. So only money is going and doing your seva in a gurdwara or a mandir or somewhere else. So that is without money. But then you don't need to be an entrepreneur to do that. For an entrepreneur, emotions play a very important role to generate business and continuity of the business. And that byproduct of that is your skill to make money out of that. Not every contract could give you money. You can be stupid to get into any commercial rate for emotions. That is not where emotion is. If you would ask me, if somebody would ask me, what have you learned over the years? What is the one thing that you have learned after coming from the hotels for so long? I would say I've learned to say no.
Wow.
Because we were taught in the hotels, and chef would also agree, that even no means to nod your head like this.
Yes.
You never nodded like this. So,
Accepted.
so where you have to say no is something that you have to understand. And it should not sound arrogant. Whether it is saying no to a leave, whether it is saying no to an increment, whether it is saying no to a client, or whether it's saying no to a business. I don't want it, even on a gold platter, I don't want it, because I know that this is hanky-panky. So I don't want to get into this. I don't want to even be associated, because my image, my brand's image is associated. So for us, politics is a big no. For us, giving a bribe is a big no. For us to do business where I have to change a vendor every 6 months or a year as a mandate is a big no, because it is not giving us anything. So some people do not take that no properly, but that is fine. Over a period of time, they understand you the way you are. So I think that is important. And we have also learned BCP from the industry, business continuity plan. So I think that has been a big learning. What if things go wrong? So the answer to your question, the first question in this one was, how important are the employees for the business? So every employee should have a backup. So everybody is important, everybody should be dispensable, including your own self.
Man should not work, system should work.
Correct.
In a way.
Yes, but like I said, food is a lot of emotion, so you need people there who understand what you want and how you want. It is not a robotic system. Accounts can do very well, your EHS can do well, your other processes can do well, but they are processes. At the end of the day, food is never a process. I'd never agree with food being a process. क्योंकि माँ की दाल किसी को स्वादी और किसी को बादी. मतलब the point is you've done it and you've made it to the recipe to the T. Now you have got two buildings of the same client. One building client says the food, the dal is excellent. The other says I don't like it. So it is not the process. It is the taste. This has no process. This has no process. So we have to understand. You have to understand. We have to understand what is it that they don't like and cook accordingly. That is skill. That is not process. That is skill.
That is good.
That is why I said it is very important, but it is always important to have a backup of the person. So have two people doing a similar job and create leadership. Create your substitute for every person. You have to create from the pool of talent that you have. Rather than getting people from outside, give your people a chance to go up the ladder. Give them more money that they deserve and try and make them move up the ladder. Your own people. They are ready and they are loyal, they are happy. The system works. So there is no point reinventing the wheel. That has been what I think.
So, chef, like you are doing wonders like providing 30,000 meals offline and 30,000 meals online. So, what is your vision of your organization? If I ask you, what is the vision of brand Tulip?
See, we limit our visions. You know why I say that? As of now, if you would ask me what is my best looking option right now, and what do I want now? One, I want to make people aware of institutional catering. Our colleges, our IHM colleges and other colleges who do not understand institutional catering and the amount of business that they have. Second, I respect all businesses all companies who are in this business. There are a lot of international companies who have come into India and they are doing a similar business. So we should be able to stand up to them and increase our productivity and our top line. Third important thing, now coming again at a personal level, I would want the people who have been loyal with us to earn to an extent that they are happy that they never left Tulip and they are still working with us. So I think they deserve much more than what the clothes that we are gaining. It is not us. It is the people behind us who are not here on the screen today. They are the people who are actually, worth much more than I think we are able to pay them right now. So I would want them to grow. If they grow, the organization grows. I don't put it the other way around. If the organizations grow, they grow. I don't think that way. If they grow, the organization would grow. So my focus for the next 2 years after the pandemic is to make them grow. If they grow and they are able to handle multiple locations, that is where I would think that Tulip as a brand or me as a person has succeeded, because I can grow or the organization grows. If they don't grow, then nothing grows.
Okay, so Chef, you have mentioned that this pandemic, it's like everywhere, pandemic has affected this industry. All the restaurants during the lockdown were closed. Then only like they were given the approvals to for the operations. Timings are very less, like 4 hours or 5 hours, and they were asked to undertake so many measuring precautions, and like you were continuously providing your services during this time. So what all measures you have undertaken in your organization?
This is like I said, things have turned over their head. So I believe I should learn to say, I should also learn whatever I say no to, finally end up doing. I said I will never start something of my own. I did that. I said I never would do a restaurant. I did that. I also said I will never do packed meals. I will do a buffet. People would come on a golden platter. We need so many meals. I would say I would not do it. It is not safe to for the food to go out of my kitchen and then 2 hours it is lying, and then I am not happy with it. I will never do it. So we did that. Like it is when you are your nose is under the water, it is only then sometimes you start swimming. So I think all the measures that were required for hygiene, the first lockdown and the second lockdown also, we made provisions for the staff to stay. We cut them off any human intervention from outside. We had a BCB plan of pre-cut, pre-frozen vegetables, which had a shelf life of 365 days. So we used only that. Our groceries and stocks were also there. So we avoided even the mandis. So we were able to deliver food, and we also delivered food for COVID patients where our esteemed organizations who we work for, they pitched in. I would specifically mention Fidelity and BlackRock. So our food went all over the NCR, and they delivered it. And at the same time, we also did it whatever little bit we could do for COVID patients and for the migrants earlier. Because we had the privilege of stocking so much of groceries and pre-cut, pre-frozen vegetables, and it is best to utilize them for a right cause. But then now things have changed. There are a lot of practices that we should have done in FSSAI earlier, or as chefs or as production people. I think that is being followed to the T now. With your masks on and your gloves on and your caps on and your hands sanitized and the kitchens being sanitized professionally and otherwise. So I believe not much has changed, but yes, the confidence of people and the confidence of the governments need to change. Now, if you look at it, all the hill stations are full. Manali is doing roaring, Shimla is doing roaring, but people are still not going to go to office. So I think that is where the tragedy is, and our tourism, our hotels should, and the hotels and especially the smaller ones and the restaurants should get some kind of benefit from the government organizations. For example, I would say we should petition them that at least bare minimum you can extend their licenses. Don't charge them for the licenses, don't charge them for electricity. Some benefit should go, because this industry has been hit badly and our people from the industry have been hit very, very badly. Imagine people who are coming out of IHM now, they are not getting jobs. So I am also attached with IHM Delhi as a old student association EC member. So we are trying to place people, but then they're not getting jobs and other people not getting jobs is a tough time. Fortunately, we have the cash surplus and the cash reserves to carry on with our employees. But then not everybody has that privilege who started recently. You can't expect the same. The government would expect us to pay all our employees but not make money and not have any sales. So I think that makes a difference. But yes, people have come up with different ideas of providing meals, home deliveries and all that. But I think this is just a stopgap arrangement. With things opening up, I think people will go back to, you can get everything, but can you get the ambience? You can't. You can't get the ambience. So people will finally go back. But we need to support our fraternity in whatever little way we can do. And we look up to our seniors and Chef Rana to create some kind of initiative on this, and we can all go in and add on to that, because we should look at them. How long can they stay in their villages?
Yes, only to think about that. So Chef, like a lot of things you have shared with us, and we would like to request you, please share one of the best incident of your journey, which like you feel proud that you are the part of hospitality industry. Anything which made you happy, like you felt proud that you have done or you have achieved something different.
So many incidences. Which one to pick? It's difficult.
I would say when I was in Holland, and we did against the wishes of everybody, we did an Indian food festival. And we did a fusion cuisine for them, and we had an option of having a fusion cuisine and authentic Indian dishes, the way they wanted. And it was a conglomerate of a lot of nationalities that had come in to the hotel. So you had Japanese people also staying, and there were a lot of nationalities there, including the Dutch. Believe you me, we had 4 restaurants there, and we kept our restaurant open for 2 hours every day extra because we couldn't fill in. So there was a German food festival, there was an Indian food festival, because there were 4 restaurants and there were 4 cuisines. There was a Far Eastern food festival, and one was their own, the Dutch. We did more sale for the Indian food festival than all the 3 restaurants combined for a week. And nobody could imagine we could do that. But yes, as chefs, I understood F&B as well as being a chef. So we tweaked some of the recipes which understood all the palates. We knew how the Japanese eat. They love their mutton curry, and so we understood that, and we made the menu accordingly. And that is where our whole team was congratulated, and they purposefully played the Indian anthem, Indian national anthem there. I think that is where I could say कि मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो गए, and I had tears in my eyes when I heard the Indian national anthem being played, and they hoisted the flag, Indian flag, and that was something where I felt like I belong to, because of our cuisine and our knowledge, we have been able to fly the Indian flag even in a foreign country.
So, which all strategies you have adopted or changes you have adopted to which helped you to grow as a person? Like, what all changes you have implemented in your personal behavior or anything, or in your professional attire? So, which made you think you have grown, you have achieved a lot in your future? So what all strategies you would like to share?
If I would say changes, I would say my biggest asset or my biggest liability was only 2 things. I would say I was a very poor loser, and I was never contented. As a child also, my sister, when we used to play cards, my sister made sure that she loses, even in Ludo or in Carom, so that I can be happy. If I would lose, I would be a very dissatisfied younger brother, and I would throw tantrums. And for me, losing a business or losing a bid or losing my business to somebody else, I could never fathom. And second, like I said, I was a very poor loser, and I was never contented. I think these 2 qualities have changed over the years. I started realizing, अगर मेरा भगवान है तो किसी और का भी तो भगवान है, उसको भी तो business मिलेगा. So coming to it, I would say when the fear of losing goes away from you, that is where somebody cannot play on you. So people who are from the corporate world, who we are working for, they understand that fear very well. They are trained to check out when you walk in whether they would go down on their commercials because of the fear of losing business, or they will not. So when that fear of losing goes away from you is the time that you are going to do the best. Because you are happy to lose also, and you are happy to get also. Neither you get overexcited on losing, or you get depressed on. Neither you get depressed on losing, nor you get overexcited on getting something. Because you understand everything is a transition, and whatever comes your way will be good. Like they say in Punjabi, "Rab da pana hai." You have to agree to it. So that has been a change, which has been, second has been contentment. Over the years, over the last few years, I think, you have to learn not to be contented with what you do with the business, but what you're earning. You have to understand, after a certain time, money has no value. Rather, it is a pain. So the more you give money, or the more you give your wealth away, or the more you give other people opportunity to grow, is something that the return that you get gives you more contentment than anything else. rather than giving 33% of your income as income tax, it is better to give that 100% off and buy the blessings of others. So I think that contentment level should come in. It should not come earlier in your career because that fire will go off. But once that comes in and you understand that I have to work for somebody now, growth of somebody, believe you me, that fire is bigger than your own fire. If I am looking at 20 people who I want them to build their houses, I want them to retire very happily, is a bigger fire than I want to have another flat, or I want to have another bigger car.
With the permission of Chef Rana,
Yes,
I
sir.
have one question for
Yes,
Vora sir.
surely.
वोरा सर, मैं सिर्फ दिल से एक आंसर चाहता हूँ आपसे कि बिजनेस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ऐसा कोई डिसीजन जिसको एक रिग्रेट की तरफ आप लेते हैं कि भाई ये मेरे से बहुत बड़ी भूल हुई, इसका मैं एक दिल से आंसर चाहता हूँ आपसे और उससे मैं सीखना चाहता हूँ कुछ।
बिजनेस से अगर कोई रिग्रेट हो, the way we do business in India, you know, कई चीजों में हम जिंदगी में कॉम्प्रोमाइज करते हैं क्योंकि हमारे पास समय नहीं होता।
करेक्ट।
यू नो, और उनको पता है कि वो आपको हैरास करेंगे, तो आपके पास आपके पास ना इतनी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं है कि आपके पास एचआर का बंदा अलग है, लीगल का अलग है, फाइनेंस का अलग है, हर चीज का अलग है। आपके पास इतनी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं होती है। यू नो, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, चाहे जितने भी लोग कर रहे हैं, अगर जीएसटी वाला या आपको वैट वाले या आपको कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बुलाएगी तो वो तो आपको डेट पे डेट ही देगी। तो वो आपको ना कई बार ये एक डिसीजन लेना पड़ता है वेदर दैट बैटल इज वर्थ फाइटिंग और इज इट नॉट वर्थ फाइटिंग।
ओके।
सो वो एक, जिसको मैंने बोला ना आइडियल कंडीशन, अगर वो आइडियल कंडीशन जो हमारे आज के कल के नेता ट्राई कर रहे हैं लाने के लिए, जब वो हो जाएगा, आई थिंक इट वुड बी अ बेटर
करेक्ट
प्लेस टू वर्क। यू नो, चाहे आप कोई भी काम करें, वो जाते जाते ये सब चीजें जाएंगी, इतनी आसानी से जाएंगी नहीं। तो वो एक रिग्रेट जरूर होता है, पिंच जरूर होता है कि मैं विप्रो नहीं हूं जो बोलेगा कि मेरे को अगर आप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कनेक्शन नहीं दोगे तो मैं 3 साल जनसेट पे चला लूंगा पावर बैकअप पे। तो वो अभी हमारी वो सिचुएशन, हम उस लेवल पे पहुंचे नहीं। तो या तो सब पहुंच जाए या एक अकेला आदमी के लिए फाइट ये थोड़ी सी मुश्किल हो जाती है। जबकि हमारे आज के द पीपल हु आर देयर इन द इंडस्ट्री इन द पावर, everybody, not now only, earlier also people have been trying to weed this thing out. I think over a period of time this will go, but this is going to take some time, you know. And also where we have to give more impetus, I would say, is to work on removing plastic 100% away. That is sometimes I regret because of our budgeting. We cannot afford it. So if given to me, I would say I would not even want even my bread to come in a plastic bag, or to give our meals in a pre-packed plastic boxes. So these are the two things, because plastic is something which is very bad for our future generation.
Correct.
Now all kind of your and mine products, when they are pre-packed, we have to use it. But if some option comes out, that is where I would be very, very happy.
अभी शेफ पूरा जाते जाते जो एस्पायरिंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं जिन्होंने सोचा है अभी कि दे विल स्टार्ट देयर ओन वेंचर्स, और अभी दे आर रेडी टू टेक रिस्क आल्सो, और उनके लिए कोई मंत्रा जो आप देना चाहें, कुछ ऐसे टिप्स कि वो सोच तो चुके हैं कि दे हैव टू जंप इनटू दिस टैंक पर, अब उनको कुछ सलाह मशवरा जो आप दे सकें?
मेरे हिसाब से ना ये बेस्ट टाइम है. This is the best time to become an entrepreneur, because now we've all understood everything can work remotely and people have accepted it. Unlike in Mumbai, जहाँ पे वो आपको पहले से उनको समझती है और उनको पता है कि 3 घंटे लगेंगे आने में, वो वैसे ही जूम कॉल कर लेते थे. नॉर्दर्न पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया में तो लोग जब तक मिलेंगे नहीं तब तक करते नहीं है, चाहे वो 5 मिनट का काम हो. सो नाउ इज द बेस्ट टाइम, एंड विद टेक्नोलॉजी I think we should take the help of technology and we should jump in. Important is, don't look back. Important is that you give yourself 3 years. Let the consultant say whatever they have to say. It's their job to give you the rosy picture. But you should know, I am not going to earn anything out of it for the next 3 years, but then things are going to change for me. Give yourself a best shot. Give your finances the best shot. Plan your finances before you plan your passion. Not importantly that you cook very well, that means that your business will run very well. Ask yourself, am I cut out for business? Second is, ask yourself if I'm okay with not making money for 3 years. Ask yourself, what is going to be my sale on the conservative side? What are going to be my fixed expenses? And then work on it. Give yourself slabs. Work, start small, test waters, and then grow big. The stupidity that we did, we never took any loans or funded ourselves. And now the things have changed, chef. People don't open, somehow, Mayur Sahab would agree, people don't become an entrepreneur to earn money, I think. They become an entrepreneur to sell the business. Before they open,
start looking for that.
They think, what should I do to build this business on a model which we can sell over the next few years. So I don't know how long this would last, but then whatever you are planning, you should write it down, put it up your board, and look at it. Whenever you face a problem, you will face thousands of problems. Nothing comes without problems. But yes, once those problems are over, that is the time when people are going to talk about you or talk from you, and that is where the journey of yours would start. When you would want others to join your journey, others to learn from your journey, others to learn from your mistakes and say, yes, I have done those mistakes, you shouldn't be doing it. So I think this is the best time to start, because you'll start small, you'll start with technology, and yes, make an MIS every month. Very, very important. And don't get disheartened by that MIS. The MIS will keep improving, because you have to target each item over the period of time. First, target only your sales, then target your MIS. If you start doing both, that is where the things go wrong. So start targeting your sales first. Give yourself 1 year of sales. Make your MIS, don't look at it. Then start picking up one item at a time. Okay, disposable is my 20% of my cost. Then start looking at getting the same thing as a lesser cost. So data would become a very important aspect when you're an entrepreneur.
Data यानी data. Data यानी data.
Data is now like more expensive than atta also. It is all about data now.
Yeah, but it is. When you look month on month, year on year basis, I think that is where your thing is. You know कि प्याज जो है वो कब महंगा होगा, किस सीजन में महंगा होगा. तो आपको पता होना चाहिए. उस साहब मयूर साहब को हमें याद करना ज्यादा जरूरी है. So you should know when what is going to happen. There would be some surprises that will always come. वो तो सरप्राइज रहेंगे ही रहेंगे आपके लिए. एज रॉ मटेरियल, हाउ इंटरनेशनल मार्केट बिहेव्स इज समथिंग दैट यू कांट प्रेडिक्ट, बट समथिंग दैट यू कैन प्रेडिक्ट is something that you should plan for. But that should happen only after a year.
So now it's the time to close the session, and on behalf of Karamat, I convey gratitude to you, Chef Gurpreet Bora, for giving your precious time to us. और मैं मयूर सर से भी कहना चाहूँगा कि वो करामात की तरफ से आपका धन्यवाद करें, because you have given us so many things in a small session. It is a full of learning. जो पिटारा था वो हमारा अभी तो मतलब बहुत सारी लर्निंग हम आपसे लेते रहेंगे इन फ्यूचर, पर वो पिटारा जो है हमारा इतना ज्यादा हो चुका है, पहले हम इसको यूज करेंगे। वही जो आपने कहा है लर्न, रीलर्न और अनलर्न वाला थ्योरी, तो वी विल अडॉप्ट दैट। तो पहले हम इसको डाइजेस्ट करेंगे, सारा कुछ जो है इसको अपने उसमें इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे, देन वी विल हैव योर more learnings from you.
Correct.
So Mehul sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much Gurpreet sir. आज there's a lot of learning, and thank you for accepting our invitation, and we are looking forward to it. So there will be so many more sessions like this for the encouragement of the fraternity. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure to be with all of you, and I wish all the viewers and Karamat and the employees of Karamat and Chef Rana a safety from all this pandemic and the families. And I am very hopeful that in times to come we will have sessions physically rather than virtually. It is a great effort. I must thank you that you are doing this for the industry. We are actually grateful.
Thank you.
On behalf of all the chefs, I am grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.